It's a story with many unanswered questions. Jennifer and Sarah Hart, along with their 6 children, were killed after their car plunged 100 feet off a cliff along California's Pacific Coast Highway. The family fled their home shortly after their 15-year-old son told neighbors his moms were punishing the children by starving them. This tragedy comes in the wake of David and Louise Turpin, who were charged with starving their 13 children and holding them captive in a house of horrors. And now joining us to discuss these disturbing cases is Dr. Phil. So in the case of the Hart family, what was the mindset of these mothers in those final moments?
Well, look, it's just really hard for any parent to conceive of doing something like this. And you always hate for someone to take their own life. But to take their own life and that of the children who don't get a vote in this is beyond the pale, right? I mean, this is something that started well beyond going off this cliff. These parents were apparently really abusing these children before this day, starving them, not providing for them in a proper way, and then it culminates with killing them along with themselves. This is some type of mental illness, some type of pact between these parents where they most likely believe they are better off dead than leaving them behind where they aren't there to protect them when they weren't protecting them to begin with.
It's such a sad story. The parents didn't leave a suicide note. They left the animals at home. What does that tell us?
Well, they don't care about anything. And it's somebody that is so self-centered, and their belief has to be that if they're not there, these children won't survive. The world is an evil place. They're not there to protect them, so they're better off dead. It is the ultimate of just doing everything from their point of view without consideration for the future of these children, taking away their lives, taking away their futures.
And in these 2 cases, the parents are charged with starving their children. What leads to that kind of sadistic behavior?
Well, again, they will have some justification in their minds. Parents who do this always have a justification that it's just we weren't overindulging our children. This was a form of discipline. These children were learning the world in this way. They think in their demented mind that this in some way was preparing these children for the real world, when in fact it's nothing but just simple abuse. And often you notice that the parents weren't starved. The parents were well nourished, but the children weren't.
Maybe the animals were well nourished as well.
Right.
What's amazing about all this, friends, family members, sometimes neighbors, oftentimes have no idea what's going on behind closed doors. These families are posting photos suggesting they're living happy lives at home, sometimes fairy tale-like lives. What do you make of all that?
Well, that's why we always talk about if you see something, say something, because we have to be the eyes and ears in our community. And it's not about Big Brother informing on our friends and neighbors, but it's only those people that catch that glimpse of seeing that child on the back porch that looks malnourished or whatever. You see something, you have to say something. Those children were kept inside, they were kept out of sight, but somebody had to see something with these children somewhere along the line. And if you get that glimpse, if you feel in your stomach, you feel in your heart something's not right, ask for a welfare check. And you don't have to identify yourself. You can just call and say, look, I have concerns about my neighbors. I don't want to cause trouble, but I would like to have a welfare check. And what happens is the sheriff will go and knock on the door and say, hi, I'm just here to do a wellness check. I understand you have children. I need to see the children. And if they laid eyes on those children, they would go, my gosh, I'm sorry, but these children are out of here. We're going to take these children, we're going to examine them medically, and we're going to get them nourished and fed. They could have saved those children's lives and suffering.
We need to create more awareness. Dr. Phil, thanks so much for being here.